Hello, and welcome to the official Ghost Hunts USA premiere podcast. I'm Frankie. I'm the Director of Operations from Ghost Hunts USA. And with us, we have Pam, a Ghost Hunts USA original.
I like how you say original because there's so many things.
Well, you do so many different things with the company that there's really no just one title to give you. And you've been around for so long that to me, that was really the best way to describe you.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. I just, whatever the day brings, a jack of all trades kind of thing. Yeah, that's kind of what I do.
We want to welcome everyone that's watching and everyone that's going to. It has been quite a process putting this together, getting this ready. So we're glad that you're here joining in this with us. As you know, this is for Ghost Hunts USA, country's largest public paranormal event company. Pam, you want to tell them a little bit about what we do?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, because I'm sure there's a lot of people on here that have never been to any of our ghost hunts. They've probably seen us on Facebook. They see the amazing locations we go to. But what they don't know is what we actually do. So we take people just like you and I who are interested in ghost hunting, want to learn how to do it. We take them to the amazing haunted historical locations. We show them how to use the equipment and we provide it too. So they don't have to worry about bringing it. We have it. We're going to show them how to use it. We show them, we take them all throughout the building, all the hot spots, and then you guys get free time later on. They get to go out and they get to investigate on their own. Right now we have about what we counted before, Frankie, it was what, 61 locations or so?
60 something.
60 something all over the country. Yeah, all over.
So, like Pam said, we get you with us. We show you what to do. You take the knowledge that we just gave you and you go out and do it on your own at some of the most historic haunted locations.
Sorry about that. Also, I don't know how to shut that off on my phone, on my computer. So I just, we'll just things.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I mean, and then too, we forget some of the places that we take people to, some of these buildings, they allow us to go on these off tour routes too, that are not open to the public, that only we have access to.
Well, and that's true. You've got places that they hold day tours. Some of those areas, if you take a day tour, you can't get in.
Mm-hmm.
It may be due to safety. It may be due to the activity that's alleged to take place in that area.
Mm-hmm.
But, through working with us, we try to get you in everywhere we can, with our insurance and our waivers. That allows us in places and areas of places that a lot of the public doesn't normally get to go.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that we're excited about. And that's something we know that can make you excited as well. So that's why we go as far as we can to get as much as we can in a location for what we do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you want to, huh?
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, I was going to say, do you want to tell them a little bit about how your paranormal journey started and how you got to Ghost Hunts USA? And
yeah, oh, absolutely. And it's probably similar to a lot of people out there. I think it started with ghost hunters. How many years ago that was? I used to watch it every Wednesday night. And I used to watch it with my mom. And it was the funniest thing. I was like, I'm going to do this one day. I'm going to go ghost hunting. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. And sure enough, 2015 was my very, very first ghost hunt. And it was at the Shanley Hotel in Napanock, New York. And it was absolutely amazing. I dragged my sister with me. She was the only person that would go, and my neighbor, because we need to have 3 people. It was absolutely amazing. And I was with Ghost Hunts USA. It was actually when we very, very first started. It was one of the 3 locations that they had at the time. Now we're to 60 again. So that's kind of cool. But that's how I kind of started. I really was interested in the paranormal. I knew that there was something out there. Also too, from something I must say too, is I'm also a psychic medium. So when I was a kid, I used to experience things. I used to see things, and experiencing that and seeing the things and talking about it to people, they'd say, oh my God, you have an imagination. It's not real. And I said, no, that's real. So as I got older, I kind of got more and more interested in it. So that's when I realized, the abilities that I did have. And especially that very first ghost hunt I did, I was addicted. So we left and I booked another one and then another one. And a couple months later, I started working for Ghost Hunt USA.
Okay. So with me, I kind of got started in the paranormal due to my grandmother. I was 5, 6 years old. We would watch paranormal movies, horror movies, would read those type of books. I would get in trouble at school and she would go to bat for me. Started reading about the paranormal, started becoming a teenager when the internet started. There used to be an old website called Prairie Ghosts. That's where Troy Taylor had a lot of stories about haunted places. I read about that. You had an old website called the Shadowlands where you could go by state and different user submitted haunted stories about places. Not the big well-known places, but local legends, just cool things. Then I started going to events, went to my first event with Ghost Hunt USA at Ashmore Estates, did the sleepover. Went to several more events with different companies because the fact that you could go to a paranormal event was something new to me. Went back with Ghost Hunt USA, went to a haunted funeral home. That made me decide that, if there's any way I'll come to work for this company. I passed along locations, kind of bothered them for a while, applied every chance I could get. And finally got in the door and got to where I am now and haven't looked back.
Yeah. It's been a road. I realized today, this is my 8th year with Ghost Hunt USA. I'm starting my 8th year and I can't believe how far it has gone. I mean, and like when I started, we had 4 locations at the time. And now we're up to 60. I mean, we went from 5 investigators to what we have now, Frankie, you know that answer more than I do. 90?
74.
74? Wow, see? It's awesome. It's awesome to see it go from this little tiny thing to where it is now. And all the cool locations we get to go to. And I mean, we've been all over the country, all over from California to Montana, Colorado, Idaho, Utah, Ohio, Illinois. I think there's maybe 3 states I've never been to in the United States, which is kind of cool. But I get to do it because I get to go and travel and get these cool haunted locations, and the history is amazing.
Yeah, I mean, who would have thought that you would get the opportunity to travel, to go to haunted locations that you've only read about or seen on TV, that you get to bring a bunch of people with you. Yeah. Everyone has a good time. You form bonds, you form relationships, and you just keep doing it over and over. You make memories. And that's one thing that I really like about the company. That's what occurred with me that made me want to come work for it. And that's what we're continuing to do, moving into the future.
Yeah. And, I think that has a lot to do with the staff, because our staff is amazing and they love what they do. And our guests that come, they absolutely love us. They come back, and we have people that will come all the way from Montana, all the way out here to New York to, that just meet us because we are very personal. We love what we do. And unlike other ghost hunting events, they get involved with us. Like, we ask them to get involved. We ask them to investigate. They don't sit there and just watch us investigate. We want them involved. So I think that is a lot of the draw that people have to return, and why we've gotten to where we are, because they just want more. And even we do too. I love when we get new locations and we're like, oh, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that we just go and we put on the events and go through the motions and go home. We love this. We love the paranormal. We love the excitement. We love being in these locations.
Yeah.
So I think that's, it's the passion for the paranormal, for the experience. It's for helping guests get the experience. It's everything that goes along with it that really keeps driving us.
Yeah, because it never stops. Like there's never, every time it's different. Even if you return to the same location, it still could be different every time you go. So it's always an adventure. It's always an exploration. So it's always fun. There's always a new experience.
Yeah, last weekend I ran events at the Mississippi House, which is an incredible, incredible location. That's the location featured in the documentaries, The House in Between 1 and The House in Between 2.
Mm-hmm.
With the first night, all the guests we had been with us previously at Missouri.
Oh, yeah.
So it's just knowing that they've been with us. They loved what we did. They trusted us to come to another event.
Yeah.
The second night, they knew we had an event at the Mississippi House, but they didn't have a clue who we were. Never been on an event with us, had never really heard of us. But after those events, they wanted to come back.
Yeah.
They wanted to come back to anything we do at that location. They want to come back to other locations. And that's really the point of what we do.
Yeah.
We want to go to a location, bring you along with us, and do everything we can to give you what you came for.
Exactly.
Even if it's nothing, it's the fun, it's the laughter, it's the experience, the memories.
Mm-hmm.
And that's really what we aim to do.
Yeah. And I think we do a great job with that. I don't think we would have gotten as far as we have gotten, if we didn't do it the right way.
Well, and I agree with that. I mean, there's work that comes along with it. There's work at the event. You take our staff. Our staff have to get there from wherever they live, check into a hotel. They have to go buy supplies. They set up. They have to make sure everything is perfect behind the scenes. And then when it's showtime, you see them go. You never see them sweat. You never see them thinking about everything else they got to do. You see them doing what you came for them to do. And that is incredible.
Yeah. Yeah. And, they do it 2 nights in a row too. You think about it, right? And you always, Frankie, when you're working, when you're there till 6 o'clock in the morning, you're sweating, you're crazy, you're tired. And then you go back, you sleep for a couple hours and you're back at it again. And we all just seem to have that push to do it. And it's an amazing thing to see. And it's amazing. It's an amazing thing. It really is.
Yeah. It just really speaks into everything that everyone in this company puts forth just to get this done and to give people the best experiences that we can.
Yeah. Yeah. And there's a lot too that go on the back end of things too, that a lot of, people don't see either. There's a lot that we do. It's never quiet. That's for sure. The travel and yeah. But well, go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead, Pam.
I was just going to say, it's kind of cool that, people who are new to this, that don't know who we are, or, they're into the TV shows, just kind of like how we all started and watching it and saying, I want to go do this. The opportunity to do it is there. And, those places you see on TV, that I was watching some episodes the other day of like Destination Fear. And I'm like, oh my God, that was really freaking scary. Like I was getting scared watching it. Like, I want to go there. I'm like, oh wait, I have been there. But it's kind of fun that you have the opportunity to do that. People have the opportunity to go out and experience that stuff.
And we go to some really amazing locations.
Mm-hmm. We do.
So in the picture that you see that promoted this, it's got me and Pam in the front, and then you see a building and you see a bunch of people at the back. That photo was taken in Housing Unit 4 at Missouri State Penitentiary. That is an incredible location with incredible staff. That photo was actually taken by Joe Phelps, one of our staff.
Oh.
And, we decided to use that for the back because that gives a picture of what we do.
Yeah.
We're there in some of the most haunted buildings, some of the coolest buildings, and guests come with that incredible energy that they have, and that always just makes for a wonderful night.
Oh, Missouri State Penitentiary is always rocking, always fun. That it's a amazing place. It absolutely is. I've been there. I can't even tell you how many times I've been there. I probably lost count, but every time I go, there's something. There's always something crazy somewhere. Always there. I mean, how many buildings do we have there? 1, 2, 4 buildings.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. Of course, one of them is multi-level,
Mm-hmm.
so that turns into quite a lot of space. And Missouri, it's a location that we've been to for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
One we're continuing to go to, and it just speaks to many of the other locations that we'll be going to as well.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see, what do we have coming up in February?
We have Eloise Asylum in Detroit.
Eloise is legendary.
Oh, Eloise is amazing. That's a huge place. It's 5 floors. It's huge. Yeah, that's always a good one.
We have Indiana State Sanatorium.
That's another massive location too.
So I saw Indiana State Sanatorium on Destination Fear.
Mm-hmm.
It's the one where Tanner catches the thermal of what's in the window.
Yep. Oh yeah, yeah.
But that doesn't do it justice.
No.
You've got to go there. Indiana State Sanatorium is incredible.
Yeah.
And it's got a massive building. The nurses station admin building, it's big as well. It's incredible.
Oh, and the mansion too.
Yeah, you've got the superintendent's mansion.
Yep.
So you've definitely got a lot of space there.
Tunnels.
Yeah, you've got the tunnels, and those tunnels go on for a long time. Those are incredible.
Yeah.
We'll be at Glore Psychiatric Museum next month. Glore is unique. Glore is fun.
Glore is fun. I like Glore.
Glore is a former psychiatric museum where they've brought other items into there, from Native American to World War II, and you can just feel all that energy kind of clash. And Glore is just, it's fun.
Oh, all the medical equipment that's in there. How about the morgue?
Yeah.
You get to actually lay in the slab of the morgue. Like they allow us to open up those refrigerator doors. It's quite creepy. And we've heard screams, like actual women's screams from down there, and also all the way on top, on the top floor where those doors are closed. You know what I'm talking about, Frankie, where the doors are closed and you can't go any further. Right behind those doors, I'm talking about like a woman scream with our own ears. There was probably about maybe 15 of us that heard it.
Glore is fun. Glore is somewhere you can get something, well, and most locations are, but you can get something different every time at Glore, no matter where you're at.
Yeah.
We've got Sheboygan Asylum.
Oh, I love Sheboygan. You can get lost in that place.
I haven't been.
That's why you haven't. So there's so many floors there, and the crazy thing is the way that it's designed. It's like you go up the stairs, you can go to the right, go to the left, and then off of those, there's another section to go off. So the hallways are endless. But there too, you have the morgue, the chapel, the tunnels. It's amazing down there. It's an amazing place. There's so many rooms to explore and areas. Yeah, that's a really good place.
We'll be at Fairfield County Infirmary.
Oh, that has the I'm throwing out all the cool stuff. That has the morgue too, and the cemetery that you can investigate. Fairfield is big. Also, that's a great one.
Let's see. We've got the Colorado Prison Museum.
Oh yeah, that has a gas chamber too.
That's a place that I've heard just a lot about. Mm-hmm. It is so cool.
Yeah, it is interesting. The stories there. And it is a kind of smaller place, but you know what? It is so haunted there.
Well, and you know the thing about Colorado Prison Museum is the activity there. We get a lot of returning guests. People just keep going back.
Mm-hmm.
So that really speaks to how incredible that location is.
Oh yeah.
Let's see, we have Burlington County Prison.
Oh, one of my favorites.
Burlington is the location that started the company.
Yeah, it did.
And we still have that location. We still go there.
Yeah.
And it's amazing.
Yeah, we've been going there for about eight years now. Yeah.
It's amazing.
It is. And it's actually one of the oldest prisons in America.
We've got the Balladary Inn, psychic
Oh,
development workshop, and self-guided ghost hunt.
yeah. That's it. Do you want me to talk about that a little bit? Because I think a lot of people
you
really know too much.
have taught the class many times, so yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so here's the cool thing about Balladary, the psychic workshop. It's a development workshop. So we're going to teach you guys, it's a 6-hour class. So just know it's full, a lot of information, but you learn everything from the different types of psychic things, clairvoyance type of things, the difference between mediums, psychics. We learn about cleansing and clearing, chakras, meditation. We also read each other. You learn how to read intuitively. It's fun. It's interactive. Oh, and dinner. I can't forget about dinner. Dinner's included, and so is breakfast, and a beautiful room. But it is a very, it's a long day, but we learn so much. And the next day, breakfast. But a lot of people return. And I'll tell you right now, we have people that have probably been there at least 4 or 5 times over and over because of all the information that we give on it. Because every time we do it, there's always something kind of, interesting or new. It also depends on the guests that are there because some are there for different reasons. So it's definitely something for people who ask or that are interested in, furthering their development, learning more on the spiritual side of things, learning more psychic development stuff. It is definitely like a, development 101. Kind of get your foot in the door, and it shows you how to go and where to go from there. So when we do that, it's kind of neat because I love that people come back, and I love that they say, I didn't realize how gifted I was or that I could do these things until you showed me how. So it's kind of neat. It's a fun time.
We've also got Bobby Mackey's.
Yeah, legendary.
Oh, Bobby Mackey's. If you watch the TV shows, you're going to form an opinion about it.
Yeah.
Once you go there for real, I think your opinion's going to change. I've been there 2-3 times, and it's definitely a haunted old bar.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yep.
First time there, I'm in the basement with Ann and Liz, 2 of our staff and guests. We hear what sounds like someone breaking in upstairs. 2 of us go running around that building, chasing something making noise, all the way up to Carl's apartment, and there's nothing there. Bobby Mackey's is cool.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely one of those places that is on everybody's bucket list, and especially to just check it out and say you've been there. There's so many people have investigated there, and it's a really cool place to go and to even just say, hey, I did it. I went.
Yeah, it's unique for sure.
Yeah. Yep.
So what's exciting you for 2023, Pam?
A lot of things. Well, a lot. It's still early, but I know, Frankie, you and I have been working on some things, expanding. Can I talk about that? You know what I'm talking about?
Sure.
Okay, I could just bring it up. Expanding the workshops, the psychic development workshops, trying to expand that all through the country. So that's something we're going to be working on this year, and hopefully get something open at least in every major division, of the U.S. or area of the U.S. Because we do it here in Pennsylvania and at the Balladary in Gettysburg, but there's so many people that ask about it out in Missouri and up in Montana, Ohio. So we're going to be expanding that quite a bit. So that's what I'm excited for.
Okay. I'm excited for a couple of things. So I was excited for this podcast.
Yeah.
And it's not just going to be we come on once a week or once a month or bi-weekly, and you've got just me or just me and Pam or just me and whoever, two people just sitting here talking. We have a lot of plans for this. We are really bringing some cool, innovative stuff that you haven't seen probably with the podcast before. And I'm really excited to see how far we can go, what all we can do, what ideas we can use, and get that out to everyone.
Mm-hmm.
I'm excited for that. And another thing I'm excited for is we get a lot of emails. We get a lot of phone calls. We've even seen it from guests that have been on our events or the general public on our social media pages. And it's about their evidence. They'll post a picture. Hey, guys, what do you think this is? Or they'll post a video. We'll get the emails saying, hey, I think there's something in my house. There's this. I've got pictures of this. I've got videos of that. And you know, private investigating isn't something that we do. We're an event company. So previously, we didn't really have a good way to help these people, to give our thoughts.
Yeah.
Because even though we're an event company, we're all paranormal investigators. We've all done it privately. We've all had the interest long before doing this. So we're not just actors hired to play a part.
Right.
We have really gotten some good training from a variety of people in paranormal investigating. So we've started to feel that when we get these calls, these emails, that we can really provide our thoughts on it. Maybe help these people, ask them what they think's going on, look at this evidence, and just give our opinion because they're asking us for it.
Yeah.
They trust us enough to ask. So we're going to trust ourselves enough to give them the answers.
Yeah.
So if you do have any evidence, picture, photo, you want us to look at it, I want you to email it to me. You can just email it to Frankie@ghosthuntsusa.com. In the subject line, put evidence, so I'll know that's what it is. Get that out to us. We'll look at it. And we may have a really cool idea for that as well. So just feel free to shoot it to us and you will get some sort of response from us.
Yeah. Yeah, we do get quite a lot of people sending things, calling. So that would be good.
Yeah, and you know, before with events, it was sort of like, well, that's not really our realm.
Yeah.
But it could be.
Right.
So we're going to make it our realm.
And then also, too, other people, if we're putting that up and we're discussing it, somebody may see something that I don't see or something that you don't see. So to leave that open for discussion and for people to kind of take a look at it, it's, you know, it helps. I think that's a great thing that we're going to do.
Well, absolutely. You know, we'll give our take on it. And, you know, just because of who we are, that doesn't necessarily mean that, you know, we're right and whoever else looking at it is wrong. We're just giving our view like everyone else, and everyone can work together to see if we can provide the best answer to what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to really be cool. Also, what else am I excited about for 2023? Well, we've got quite a few things coming up. I don't want to let too many cats out of bags.
No, I know. That's why.
So,
yeah.
Sticking with us, you'll definitely see that here in the next coming weeks, the next coming months.
Some new locations coming in eventually.
Just a lot of new things. One thing we've really been focused on this year is making your experiences better. We're doing a lot of promotions. We we understand that inflation in some areas has been tough, so we've lowered some prices on a lot of things. We're going after the places you want.
Mm-hmm.
We're doing as much as we can to get you involved and to have you be as much part of the conversation as we can have you, and really let you take part in driving this company forward.
Yeah.
That's really what we're going for. Pam, what is the location that you are going to be most excited to go to this year?
That's tough. I love it's such everybody. A lot of people ask me that question, and here's the funny thing: I
Mhm.
don't have an exact answer because I love all of them. Every place we go to is different. I mean, every place you go, from mansions to asylums to prisons to and I love to say, like, I'm excited to go to all of them. Um, it's so I love Missouri State Penitentiary. I think that's probably always such a great time. I think because we have a lot of staff there, and even Missouri State Penitentiary staff, it just makes it like a big like party for us, I think. But as far as location, God, there's so many. Pennhurst, I love Pennhurst. Pennhurst Asylum is definitely something everybody has to check out once, at least once. But there's so many. God, it depends on the day. It depends on the night. I have so many favorites. White Hill Mansion in New Jersey. It's a cool place. Like, there's so much history there. Built in 1723. I mean, the layers and layers of history you have there goes back so long ago, and there's always something very cool that happens there. God, there's so many places I love. The Abbey Monastery. That is a different type of place that we have. And I know people think a monastery, but oh my God, that place is nuts. That's a great place.
It's beautiful.
Oh, it is. Oh, it really is. And it's huge. And you don't realize it's huge. I'm going to tell you a quick story. I was there by myself. I was the only person in the building, and I was there actually taking photos. And Brenda let me, she says, here, just go do what you got to do. And I'm upstairs, and the whole entire time, it just felt like something's following me. And I just wanted out of there. Like, I mean, I was the quickest I've ever been. It's daylight out, but you can hear walking behind you. I'm standing in the room taking a photo. All of a sudden, like, I leaned up against something and it made a bang. And then down the hall, you hear it mimic me. Bang, bang. I'm like, oh crap. I ran down this ramp. I'm going to fall. Then I go to the basement. Nope. No. I got to the last stair. No, I don't go to that basement by myself. And anybody who has ever been there, especially our staff, will tell you, not a good place to go alone. So I'm standing there at the bottom of the stairs, and I'm like, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it. I'm not going. So I didn't. I said, forget it. I'm not going to that basement, and just ran back up the stairs and out of the building, because and it's so weird, because you think like this beautiful chapel, but yeah, no, it's very deceiving place.
Yeah.
So that's there's so many really cool ones.
There really is. It's hard to, it's kind of like being asked, well, what's the most haunted place?
Yeah.
Well, how do you describe that? Is it the most aggressive? Is it the most frequent? Mm-hmm. So a place I really want to get back out to in 2023 is Ashmore Estates.
Oh, I love it.
Reason being, I did my first event with the company there.
Mm-hmm.
I did my working interview there where I got hired. And I was part of a working interview at Ashmore Estates. Yeah. So the only thing I haven't done there is I haven't ran an event. And it's just a really cool place.
Are you going to sleep there, Frankie? You get to sleep there.
Well, when I was a guest, I did. I sure did. In the dining room next to the boiler room.
Ooh.
Sure did.
Did you actually sleep, though? That's the question.
You tried about 3 a.m. Someone let out a blood-curdling scream.
Yeah.
I don't know who, I don't know what, but but you really didn't get a lot of sleep there, but it was so fun.
Yeah. That's actually the best time too, is when you're just sitting there being quiet and you're just calm and relaxed, and all of a sudden things just start happening.
I mean, it's just an incredible location. It's one I have, a connection to,
Mhm.
um, based on
Yeah.
the times I've been there and what I've been there for, and that's one I really hope to get back to. Just how can you not love it?
Yeah. And Ashmore, we've been going to that 8 years now.
Hmm.
That's one of the original locations. And Terry, oh my God, he's amazing. So it's a really good place.
Well, one thing I say about Ashmore, and it's true about a lot of locations, but one thing I say about Ashmore is you can see the love and the care
Hmm.
that Robin Terry puts into that place.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And that's true for a lot of places, but I always notice it every time I go back to Ashmore.
Yeah.
Just wanting to make it better for everyone.
Yeah.
And I really love that spirit about him.
And and the restoration that he's put into it, and I think a lot of people forget this, or they don't seem to realize, but when we rent these buildings, all of them, we the money that we help raise helps those buildings. It helps with restoration projects. It helps with just keeping the lights on and paying the taxes, and just keeping it going and keeping the restoration. I mean, without them being able to hold tours or being able to hold overnight investigations, a lot of these places would not be standing anymore. So a lot of people don't realize that, that's a big thing of what we do. And we take pride in helping those buildings.
Well, and that's exactly right. You come to an event, you get a ticket, but what you're doing is a great portion of that ticket you're purchasing goes toward these historic haunted places,
Hmm.
and helps get them the funds they need to continue doing what they're doing, so they can stay open or stay standing or whatever they need, so that we can continue going there and putting on the events that all of us love doing.
Yeah. Keeping the history alive too.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's when you hear the history of a haunted place, um, and then you can't go to it, not because they won't let you in or
Hmm.
they won't do event, but because it's not there,
Yeah.
or it's just sitting abandoned on property by an owner out of state, and all it's going to
Yeah.
take is the elements long enough and it'll fall down, or someone with a match or a lightning strike, and it's gone.
Hmm.
And that's a really sad way for these historic haunted locations with such great histories to end up. And we like to think that what we do is our part of helping prevent that.
Yeah.
And what you guys coming with us, that's what you're helping do as well.
Yeah. Yeah. And plus all those spirits are there. They want to tell their stories. They want to speak. They want to communicate, and kind of gets that out.
Yeah, it's a really beautiful thing
Hmm.
to see some of these places still standing,
Yeah.
still operating, and to think that we as a company, our staff, our guests, really help play some part of that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's why, we appreciate you coming with us, because that does help.
Yeah. That absolutely does.
Um, anything else you might want to discuss, Pam, before we start seeing if anyone in our chat wants to talk about anything or has any questions or anything of that nature?
No, I do see some things going there, but yeah, if they want to send us some questions, that would be good.
Yeah, anything you guys want to talk about, or anything you may have said earlier or asked earlier that we might have missed?
Yeah, because some of it was kind of hard to. I was trying, if you guys saw me looking down, I was trying to look down at my laptop, seeing what was coming in. So yeah, there's some in there. So if people want to ask some questions, that would be wonderful.
Yeah, or just make any comment or
Yeah. And also too, I mean, I know you have plans for this, Frankie, for bringing on some of our staff too, to talk about things and locations, and we're gonna do location spotlights, right? Things like that.
Oh, absolutely. We're going to be bringing a lot of people on. We're getting everyone involved.
Yeah.
Um, let's see. Equipment we like to use. That's what Allison wants to know. What equipment do you like to use, Pam?
Myself. I do. That's actually my favorite piece of equipment, but you know what? I like a lot of it. I think I get excited when I use like trigger objects and they go off like the REM pod and it
Mhm.
does all the lights and whistles and I get quite excited. Um, and I also like the spirit boxes and the phasma boxes because you actually get to communicate and speak, and those are my favorites.
My favorite would be, well, I like to use myself too. If you've been on an event, with me, I'm always trying to avoid the equipment and doing senses and my own thing. But if we're just going to go specifically within a piece of equipment, um, I like the mag light.
Yeah.
It's simple, it's basic. You unscrew it enough to disable the circuit. You ask them to cut it on by using their energy to fill the gap in that circuit. And you can get some really, really good responses.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron wants to know our favorite moment that happened at an event.
There's so many. Aaron, that would be like a whole entire episode. I don't know, Frankie. Do you have I have several, but
My favorite, there's so many memorable things.
yeah.
I'll provide the one that I probably think about most often.
Okay.
We were at Penhurst. It was me, it was Kevin, one of our staff, one of our trainers. It was Andrew Spitz, owner, guests. And we were coming out of the Mayflower building. If you've ever been to Penhurst, the Mayflower building is where it has the gift shop. It's where you can buy their merchandise. It's where we set up for our break room. And I come out and I look to the right in a building that we don't use. It's not open. It's not available. It's not in the best shape. And I see these children looking out of a window. And to me, it looks like they're screaming. So I say, I think there's kids up there and you may hear them scream. Suddenly across the courtyard comes, "Help me," really, really loud from that building. We all hear it. We're running around looking. There's nobody there. And in addition to that, that building doesn't even have a second floor anymore. So that's a moment that always sticks out to me about something happening at an event. And this was before the event even started.
Oh, that's good.
Um,
I guess I'd have to say then Missouri State Penitentiary.
mhm.
I will never forget. And I always 3D. I was down in 3D. And I was sitting on that wall thing right there. This is probably the first or second time I was there, and I'm sitting on the wall. And all of a sudden, this big glass mass just stood right in front of me. I covered my eyes. I'm like, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. But I stood up and I'm like, I got to move. I have to move. I stood up and walked against the cell doors over there. And all of a sudden, this black thing came back in front of me. And there was a guest directly in front of me on the other side of the hall and said, "Where did you go?" Now, you know, you've been down there. I know those that have. There is some light coming in down there. And this was down by the cage. So if you guys were there, you know what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm.
There is a little light coming in there. And this lady's like, "Where did you go?" And I'm like, "I'm right here." Well, there was something again right in front of me. It pretty much followed me there. And all of a sudden, I'm like looking up at this. It had to have been, I mean, I'm 5 feet. So I don't know, 6, maybe 7 feet. And I'm looking up, and all of a sudden, this thing drops down to the ground and just crawled right up me. And it was the creepiest thing I've ever felt in my life. And I still, to this day, will never stand in that spot. How many times I've been there, I still will not stand there because of that experience. So that was probably one of the most scariest experiences because that was the first time. But I can say about the Hinsdale too. I mean, that Hinsdale house was probably one of the most profound experiences because I think that opened up my eyes to things that weren't so great and so light and loving. That was a quite an interesting place. If anybody ever has a chance to go to the Hinsdale house, go. It's small. It's a small guest amount. It's a 13 event. So those who don't know what 13 events are, it's when we only have about 13 guests there, and it's a smaller, intimate experience. We were down in the basement, and this guy just all of a sudden started just gasping. I'm like, "You're right." And he says, "Something freezing cold just came through me." Next thing you know, he says, "My chest is hurting." We go upstairs, and he has a sweatshirt on. He pulls open his shirt, and he's got 3 scratches going down his chest. And on his chest was a rosary tattoo. And it's bleeding. Like, it wasn't just, hey, you scratched yourself. This was blood. That same night, nobody's sleeping. We're all sitting in the living room. And all of a sudden upstairs, we start hearing all of the chairs moving. This toy that we put into Mary's room had moved. Everything was moving up there. I said, don't go up there. We went up the next morning. Everything was moved. All the covers and sheets were pulled off the beds. All the chairs were turned around. It was absolutely insane. So that was probably like one of the most profound things that's really opened my eyes. And that was early on. That was when I really started doing a lot of events. But there's so many.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a great place. And any of you guys who have been there, yeah, even the outside there is intense.
Looks like Lucy and Julie both want to know, what was our scariest event or scariest location? What scared us most?
Definitely the Hinsdale house. That was definitely. I answered that one for you guys.
For me, Brushy Mountain.
Oh, see, I haven't been there.
Brushy Mountain Penitentiary in Tennessee. That prepares you. Well, actually, let me say, I was unprepared for that. There's an auditorium, hospital building on the 3rd floor. It's not open for the day tours due to the alleged activity that has occurred in there. Go in there. Only place I've ever been where I walked in, immediately felt terrified and wanted to leave. Didn't leave. But when you're in an area, and I'm doing senses, I'm not using any equipment. I did use a plasma ball later, but I didn't have trigger objects or anything other than that. When you're in a place and you see yourself, other staff, guests being affected in a negative way, you don't know why, but you can see it. You know it. They know it. And it's happening. That's frightening. Yeah. That's frightening. That's the one place I really had second thoughts about going back to.
Yeah. And that's the thing we always say too, spirits can affect you. They can affect you in that way. You can get angry. Their spirits can make you angry. They can make you sad. They can really affect you in that sense. And that's why I always tell people, speak up because, sometimes you got to step out. But when it gets like that, you kind of question that, you question like, what the heck just happened? And that's when our questions and our whole mind start going. This is why we keep doing what we're doing too, because we never actually have a complete answer. And there's things that just blow us away. And there's never an answer. There's always something new to experience.
Yeah. Out of all the locations you visited, what was your top 3 favorites? It's really hard to do a top 3.
I know.
Because you like so many of them for so many different reasons.
Yes, that is true.
Rather than 3 locations, I'll do 3 types of locations.
Okay.
Number 1, prisons. I was
Yeah.
a correction officer for years. So just in addition to the activity, it being haunted, I like to go see the old abandoned prisons, the construction, the history,
Yeah.
just that aspect from being in corrections. I really like the prisons.
Hmm.
I like the museums,
Yeah.
whether it's the Civil War museums or psychiatric museums like a Glore or like an Octagon Hall.
Yeah.
They're always unique.
Hmm.
There's activity there that it's hard to explain a lot of activity at a lot of places, but you get some really, really interesting and puzzling things at those types of places.
Yeah.
And my third would probably be probably asylums.
Yeah.
Just because asylums they're unique as well.
Hmm.
To me, they really show a stronger duality than a lot of types of places. You can get that terrifying, frightening experience at an Eloise.
Hmm.
But there, or a Penhurst, you can also get that really sad type of experience as well. So it's just the duality of that.
Hmm.
Both ends of the spectrum you get at asylums. I
Yeah.
think that I've gotten more so than any other type of place.
I have to agree with that. Definitely asylums, definitely on that. Because yeah, you get that sadness sometimes and you get the anger sometimes, but yeah, you get both of that there.
What Nina wants to know, what is one piece of equipment we don't own that we would like to, and why?
Huh. That's hard for me because I think I've used pretty much a lot of things. I don't know. You have an answer to that one, Frankie?
So if you've ever seen on TV, and specifically probably some of the shows Nick Groff has done, you've seen him used what's called the God helmet.
Oh.
The way the God helmet is supposed to work is it does a lot of signals and flashes and things, and gets your brain to really experience paranormal activity, supposedly. Now,
What does it do then? Does it like does it take your brain waves to a specific,
well,
something?
that's what it's supposed to do. Yeah, it's
That's
supposed to push your brain into an area where you can get better paranormal communication.
that's very
I've seen that they also make a type of sunglasses that do that same thing. And there's kind of been back and forth on really what it's doing. Does it do that, or is it just pushing you to the point of delusion or hallucination?
mhm.
And I think it'd be cool to try. And I don't know if you can buy the helmet, but I have seen, I think Bill Chappell, I think he actually makes the glasses and you can buy them. That would be cool to buy just to see
I'd
what they do.
Yeah, I'd love to.
Just try it once.
Yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah. So I think that's one. And just I never really got around to looking deeply enough into if they are available, how much that, that type of stuff.
Yeah.
Let's see. Oh, people are bringing up the Monroe house.
I was reading. It's so funny, Frank. I think I'm on the same page as you because I'm reading the same exact question you are, and I was like, "Ooh, Monroe House." That
What
was
nights owners?
that's it. They are so nice. But I mean, so I went there during the day. I'll tell them real quick about that experience. What we went there I went during the day, met the owner, did a meeting with them and stuff. And he was so reluctant to get into that house. He's like, I don't, usually I don't go in here alone. And he's telling me, just don't do it. And we're staying that house. I mean, during the day, you just feel something like that place pulsates. It's almost like it's like a living house. I don't know. Others might understand what I mean by that, but when I walk into a specific place, I can feel energy. So I can feel what kind of energy is around. And that place just pulsates. Um, it it's it's creepy. It is creepy. He doesn't like being in there alone. And I remember we were locking up and he's like, do you mind staying with me so I could do the alarm and I'm not in here by myself? So I go in and I do the alarm with him. That's absolutely not a problem. Go out. Alarm goes off while we're outside the house and he goes in by himself. I'm already across the street. I'm like, oh no. And I just stood there and waited for him to make sure he came out. But there are places that scare the owners, the ones that spend time there, that they've had so many experiences in that house and their friends and family and the history. So yeah, Monroe House is definitely, yeah. He says they said that they don't feel safe being there. And that's exactly how I felt too. Yeah, definitely.
It's certainly one of your more interesting places. And further more interesting is how owners, as really nice as they are, such the sweetest people, own a house like that.
Yep. Oh, they're so nice too. And I was like, yeah, I'll stay with you. No worry. So here's one, Joe Phelps. He's one of our investigators. He brought up the EMF pumps. So that's kind of like, I would always like to try those too. And the Jacob's ladder. Did you ever see the Jacob's ladder? Yeah, I would like to try that too. I think that would be a cool experiment to do to see if things do get more active and it does bring in, electricity in the EMF field for the spirits to manifest or give them the energy to be able to speak and move things. Because a lot of times people don't realize how much energy it takes for them to do that. So that's a great piece of equipment. And I almost forgot about those.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
That's kind of like the plasma ball.
Yeah.
I have a big one that I use and have a little portable power pack that I can plug it in. And it makes the REM pods and stuff go off. It's producing that much energy. So your EMF pumps and the plasma balls and the Jacob's ladder.
Yeah.
It's really interesting to see how they can charge that atmosphere and change any experiences you get by putting out more energy for spirits to potentially use.
Yeah. And and it's funny because when we go to certain places, like I say before, the energy is different. But the spirits, the ones that have, they take energy from us, as they say, they use a lot of it. But some places you go to, that energy is pumping in there, especially like special areas too of buildings like 3D and Missouri State Penitentiary is always intense. And I wonder if it's, if it is like the energy of the EMF or whatever it is that keeps them so active down there. Certain areas, how they have that, like,
yeah,
I think that like kind of energy just feeds itself.
Yeah. And, you put something in there with it and give it that much energy. I mean, who knows?
That would be a cool experiment.
Yeah. It would be cool to really see when you're putting out as much energy into an area as you could possibly put out. Can a spirit use all of that? And what can they do with it?
Right.
Because without that much energy, are they doing what they want to, or just doing what they can based on that limited amount?
Right.
So it's interesting to think about. It really is.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like what we say, the energy you give is the energy you're going to get back because they work on it. So putting that energy in there, that'd be a cool experiment to do.
Yeah.
If we could find one of those, we could totally do a live experiment with that.
Yeah. We absolutely could.
Ladder we can borrow. Let's see what we got over here. I keep going on the wrong mouse here. I mean, we have a lot of people. I recognize all these people in here, and it's really awesome. You guys joined us today on Sunday. Either you're sitting in your sweatpants, drinking a beer, or a cup of coffee, or tea, but now you're sitting here talking to me and Frankie.
Yeah, we really appreciate you guys tuning in. We appreciate, you see some location staff. We appreciate you working with us.
Mm-hmm.
We see some of our staff. We appreciate the jobs that you do for us.
Yeah.
We see some guests. We appreciate you as well. We're glad that you were able to get in here, if it's like it is here on a rainy Sunday, and just saying hello and seeing what we've got going.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to say, Pam, before we close it down for the day?
No, I just wanted to thank everybody for joining us on this lovely Sunday on our first podcast, which is, I could sit here and talk all day with you, Frankie, about everything. This could go on for hours. We could just discuss everything. So, it's fine with me. But yeah, it's especially now too, because January is a slow month for a lot of us. And we kind of, after the holidays and, to sit here and kind of remember we're getting back into the swing of things, and all of the locations that are closed from the winter that we don't get to go through now are going to start opening up again, March, April, so I hope that gets everybody excited to start looking into, coming. And I will say one thing, because I know a lot of people have asked, because I've gotten a lot of emails on this. There are some locations that we are going back to. It's just we don't have the dates at the moment. We're just waiting for the location to approve or confirm the dates. But please don't get discouraged, because we will have them. It's just working and getting them. So
it's sadly a process.
Yeah, it is a process. So that's kind of what I wanted to say to a lot of people that are worried or that ask. And yeah. That's really all I have to say.
Okay, well, we appreciate you guys being here. We appreciate everything you do, from working with us to working our events to coming to the events. We hope to see you out there. We will be doing this again, and we will be doing a lot more things. So we want you to stay tuned as we provide more and more ways for you to get involved. And we are excited about where 2023 is going to go, and we want all of you along for that ride.
Yeah.
So
well said.
But you guys enjoy the rest of your day, take it easy, or whatever it is you plan to do. And we really thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, guys.
Bye.
Bye.